Hello everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Guna and I take care of the international business at AdYogi. So AdYogi is a performance marketing platform, helps the e-commerce brands scale their website revenue through Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok ads. So in the today's webinar, we are going to cover why YouTube as a platform is critical for performance marketing and how it helps the e-commerce brand scale in the long term. So, to cover the significance of running the YouTube ads, I'll probably leave it to our experts here. So, we have our speakers joining Anshuk and Garvit. Anshuk is the co-founder of AdYogi, and Garvit handles the Google ads at AdYogi. So, yeah, over to you, Anshuk. Could you just give us a brief intro?
Hi, Guna. Thank you so much. I think good morning, everyone. This is very happy to be a part of this webinar. I've always believed that YouTube as a platform has very, very big potential. When I talk to clients, I often tell them that don't think of YouTube as Google. In fact, you should have a separate strategy for YouTube, just like you have a strategy for Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and also strategy for Google. So I do feel that YouTube as a platform will get more and more prominence over the coming years and could actually become a big part of anyone's marketing strategy. So really happy to be talking about YouTube. It's also one of my favorite topics. Just a brief intro about me. I'm one of the co-founders of AdYogi. Over the last 7-8 years, we have worked with 300 plus direct-to-consumer brands. I've personally interacted with over 100 plus founders, and I've really seen the ecosystem evolve over the last 7-8 years. And one big part of the ecosystem which we now see is actually Google and YouTube becoming the center stage of any D2C brand strategy. So that's a little bit about me. We'll of course talk about more during the panel discussion towards the end as well. So over to you, Garvit, to probably introduce yourself and take it from here.
Thank you so much, Anshuk. Good morning, everyone. My name is Garvit Sahani, and I'm working as a manager of Google Ads and AdYogi. I also work with Google India team to implement best practices across Google Ads campaign types. I've also worked with 250 plus brands to scale their e-commerce business using Google Ads, which includes platform types like Performance Max, Search, Discovery, YouTube, and Search. Today, through this webinar, I will explain how to scale your e-commerce business with YouTube ads specifically. So that's our key agenda, which we will cover through. And when we talk about YouTube ads, the primary goal of YouTube campaign, which we will be discussing, YouTube for action and the best practices around that. So let's start with the key takeaways, which we'll cover through this webinar. So we'll go through the success story of a rapidly scaling D2C brand on YouTube. Then why YouTube is important for performance marketing and why it should be a part of your marketing mix and why we should have a specific budget for our YouTube strategy. Then best practices at campaign, ad group, and ad level, and how do we optimize these three levels for our optimization and scale up perspective. Next, we'll cover how to measure your YouTube campaign performance, because since YouTube is more of a video campaign type, so here we will have a different type of engagement as you see from your other Google campaign type, which will be your search and Performance Max. So YouTube is a very strategic campaign type through which we'll explain how what are the different matrices through which we can capture YouTube performance. Then we'll see how we can optimize budget across campaign to maximize ROS and how much budget we should keep it separate for our YouTube ads. So let me start with explaining a case study for House of Rare, which is an apparel brand offering products for women and men in this segment. So when we started for House of Rare, like 2 years back, YouTube specifically, so there we see when we started, their website traffic overall increased by 20%. So this will give you an overview of what was the impact of YouTube on a D2C brand and how it helped them to scale their e-commerce business. So we also saw that 70% jump in brand searches. And one very important point, which we will also cover in our subsequent slides, is how custom intent can be used and for maximizing conversion and how this can be used to integrate all the data of Google search into our display platform. The other thing is how Google is now launching daily new products, like for example, product feed in YouTube ad, and how we use this kind of features to increase their clicks and conversions. So this is what we are going to see through this one. So if we see here, there's a quarter over quarter significant growth in terms of engagement rate, and then we see a maximum engagement through YouTube. So we can see from this that YouTube has a great potential, and that's why we should have YouTube as a primary goal and the platform type in our overall Google strategy. So here you'll see what's the importance of YouTube when you are running it, because when advertisers are looking for on search for a particular product on Google, then they would also want to learn by going on to the YouTube channel, and then they want to see and understand more about that particular product, right, or a category, and then they want to buy it. So it is a medium also to communicate what are the specific attributes of the product and how your product differentiates from the other products in the market. So this is a very great tool through which you can specify and communicate the messaging of your product which you want to launch or a category of your business. So if you launch YouTube in addition to your search, we see 20% higher conversion volume and 8% higher conversion rate. Some key features of YouTube, which was introduced in recent year. So this also explains how Google is more dedicated on working with YouTube. So earlier YouTube was considered as more of a branding channel, but now since Google is more specific on how YouTube can be used as more of a performance marketing channel. So this is an example of how Google is on their side also is launching new and new features to use this as a performance marketing tool. So first, they have moved away from skippable in-stream video ad, which used to have just like one headline, and now they have created a responsive video ad format, which contains a lot of headline and description, and where we have a different CTA buttons also. We have introduced also different bidding strategy. Earlier, YouTube used to contain only target CPA and maximize conversion. Now, based on this goals for the client, YouTube has also launched maximize conversion value and target ROAS bidding goal. So these are the automated bidding strategy goal, which help clients use YouTube to maximize their business targets. Monetize YouTube Shorts. Responsive video ads include YouTube Shorts as a placement. So this is a very recent development done by YouTube to cover their Shorts placement. So the existing ad, which we will run in a responsive video ad format, that will be placed in our YouTube Short. Another new feature which YouTube launched was Merchant Center feed in video action campaign, and just giving you an yes, on the right hand side you'll see a preview of this, where you'll see product ads which will be linked from your Google Merchant Center coming under your video, which will be playing in stream. So this is earlier Google used to show a standard cycling extension, and this is now more dynamic and interactive way of showing the ads. Now it's a poll time. We can launch poll. So question is, what percentage of ad spend do you currently spend on YouTube? Less than 10%, 10 to 30%, 30 to 50%, or greater than 50%, or you have not started Google YouTube ads till now? So we'll wait for just 40 seconds, and then I'll come up with the answer. Okay, so very interesting analysis from the pool. So as again, I can see that 60% of the audience have started the YouTube ads, but their budgets are less than 10%. And 40% of the audience have not started even a YouTube campaign. So here we can like obviously plan how do we scale YouTube, which you have already started, to the next level in the range of 10 to 30%, or let's say 30 to 50%. And if you have not started YouTube, what should be the best strategy to start YouTube for your brand? Okay, now starting with how do we create our campaigns, and what should be the proper structure to launch your YouTube campaign when you are launching a YouTube campaign, right? So here we cover 3 pointers. First, what should my ad contain? Because YouTube is your ad specific, so that is one very important point. What should my ad contain? Then we'll move into what should be my targeting. Like Google offers a set of specific targeting, and then how should I measure my performance on YouTube? So first, what should my ad contain? So our ad, this is very important point here, because this is a very key point, because of the messaging which we provide through our YouTube ad, that will pay a direct impact on your performance. Right? So few of the best practices here is that video should be maximum 45 seconds, because YouTube charge based on the view rate of the particular video. Then resolution should be 720p or below. Audio and soundtrack is very critical, because again the messaging will be communicated through that, and that's a particular time through which we'll be capturing the interest of our particular audience. So what do we communicate in our audio and sound is very critical. Recommended is landscape, varied scenes and angle, minimize the text on screen, and landscape for desktop and portrait for mobile view. So that it can be also used for YouTube Shorts. Yes, so this is more details on and what's the benefit of enabling your merchant center feed in YouTube ad. And so first is that user will land directly on the product page. So that's the biggest advantage, because that will reduce number of clicks to your final purchase. And like for example, if it would have been a category, it will be an additional click to your final conversion path. So that's the first very important advantage, that user will land directly on the product page. So we have seen that it increases the conversion rate by up to 50%. So this is definitely one thing which we should be activating in our YouTube campaigns. And one very interesting point which we can also implement is we can link our top selling product category for our optimum results. Yes. So this slide explain, if for example, if you would have, let's say 1,000 SKUs, right? So I would like to explain this slide from two perspectives. First, let's consider client where you'll have around 1,000 SKUs versus where you would have around 10 to 15 products, right? So if you would have somewhere around 1,000 SKUs, so you should focus on more category level videos, because video is in itself is an investment. So we can't have like 1,000 videos around that. So you should focus on your category, and that to your best category. For example, in a brand which we manage, Apple, they have kurta sets, suit sets as the best category. So what we recommend to them to create video for the top categories. Similarly, for if you would have SKUs around 10 to 15, then you should create videos for your product specific. So in this example, you'll see 82° East, where the best product is Ashwagandha Bounce. So this is a specific video which explains the benefits of this particular products, what are the ingredients in it, and how to use it, right? So that's the communication and that's how YouTube is so powerful, that we are able to communicate the benefits and the attribute of the product, right, through this particular ad. So benefit of using this is lesser click to conversion and higher the conversion rate. Next is, who should I target in my ad group? So for this, learning how our ad group structure should be, first we need to understand what are the types of audiences in YouTube. So some of the audience type is custom intent, in market, similar audience, remarketing, and our customer data. So first, I'll explain custom intent. We'll also go deep dive into custom intent specifically because custom intent this is the next slide. So I'll take it from here. So custom intent is an audience type through which we can use keywords on Google Search Network and create an audience which we can use in Google Display Network, which is your YouTube or Discovery. So this is a very powerful tool, custom intent, through which we can capitalize on all the learning from Google, which they have created on Search Network. These are the actual people who are looking for your product or a category on Google search. So the intent is very high. And the best practice here is that we add minimum 30, around 30 keywords in a custom intent keyword. So here, giving you an example, you'll see category shirts. So we created a audience for category shirts, men trouser, and all their categories. So what we did is shirts for this brand was their top selling category. We created a custom intent for keywords, let's say like premium shirts, people who are looking for premium shirts, people who are looking for checked shirts. And through that, we created a particular custom intent. And we have seen a very amazing result with custom intent since the intent is very high. And that's how we use Google search power for our display network. Now, coming back here to in-market is Google defined audience through which it's defined based on the personas and the interest from the Google network. So that's how in-market is defined. Similar audience is automatically created in Google Ads through our like remarketing data. Remarketing is through our pixel data, and customer data is that Google has a tool where we can upload all the customer data in Google Ads, and using that particular audience, we can target our audiences in YouTube. So these were the specific border level YouTube audiences which we have understand. And here we'll also see the best practices to run YouTube ads for your engaged campaign, where we can use customer list and remarketing. Now, why we should use both? Because they complement both of them. Because one is our customer data, which will be a hard-coded data, and then remarketing is it keeps on updating because of your pixels, right? So we should be using both of these data, and customer list can also be an offline data. If the brand is an omni-channel, you have a offline store also. So that particular order data can also be placed, uploaded on Google Ads, and this particular audiences can be used. There is some eligibility here that customer data to have minimum of 1,000 records to serve ads. One thing, we can also capitalize on cart abandoners audience in separate YouTube engaged campaign. That will learn at the end also. Keyword should be the proper structure for your YouTube prospect and YouTube engaged campaign. Next, this is also one very important point in terms of YouTube, that we need to focus on our hero categories in prospect campaign. So we can't have multiple YouTube prospect campaign without any goals, right? So when we are launching YouTube campaign, first we need to identify what are the categories, what are the products through which we need to launch YouTube campaigns, right? So for that specific, like have one YouTube and one discovery engage campaign for all category specific. This is for your engage, that you just have one engage campaign and you populate all the ads there. For your prospect campaign, we should have the top performing categories and the bestseller categories. So for example, you can see in this screenshot, we created a YouTube prospect campaign for Ashwagandha and for similarly for other products. Through this strategy, how it will be helpful is that we can optimize on the budgets and bid for the specific categories. And if we want to promote a specific product or a specific category during a sale duration also, so that way we would have a more control over this structure. One pro tip here is you should always start your discovery YouTube campaigns with maximize conversion and split strategy. How this will be helpful is that your campaign would have enough conversion data to optimize for these campaigns in future. So Google always recommend to start these campaign type with maximized conversion. When you have enough conversions in your particular campaign, then it can be changed to TCPA or target ROAS bidding strategy. Now, one very important point, how to measure your YouTube campaign performance. Why this is important is, as I told in starting of this webinar, was that YouTube is not typically like your search and PLA ads. In YouTube, there's a there's a multiple goals and levels of conversion path, right? So there it is also important to consider the other matrices. For example, what is my average session duration for this particular campaign type? What is my CPC from this particular YouTube campaign, right? So some of the best practices around that will help you to take the correct decision when you run a YouTube campaign. Because looking at the ROAS, and if you think, okay, my direct ROAS from YouTube is less, and if we take a decision to, let's say, reduce the budget or stop the YouTube campaign, that might have a adverse effect on our campaign, because that might be the campaign which will be bringing a very high traffic at a very good session duration to your website. So this is a very important parameter which we should keep in mind while when we are measuring our YouTube campaign performance. Also, it helps us to increase our brand search volume and increase the brand search budgets also parallelly. Because once our brand search volume increases, then obviously more people will look for our brand on Google search. So that will help them. And also one important parameter which we can look and which we have developed in AdYogi also to measure YouTube performance is assisted conversion. Through this, we can also see how this particular YouTube campaign is helping my other campaigns, let's say search, discovery, display, in scaling up and in terms of ROS also. Right. So this is some of the parameters which we should keep in mind when we are measuring YouTube campaign performance. So it's time for second poll. We can launch that here. So question is, at which stage of brand are you currently at? Yet to launch, less than 100 orders per month, 100 to 1000 orders per month, or greater than 1000 orders per month? Great. I think so we can end this poll and we can move to the next part and the last part of our webinar, and which will give you a key takeaway from this webinar. And this is, after this, we will also be sharing a ebook of YouTube. And so you can go through that and what are the best practices we have developed in AdYogi while talking to Google India team also. So we'll be sharing that also. So here to summarize, what should be the recommended structure for scaling with YouTube? First, we'll understand from YouTube prospect campaign level structure. So as I mentioned, we should have our campaign type based on our categories. So there's a 3 to 4 YouTube prospect campaign based on our top categories or top products. Then at ad group level, we should have custom intent, which we discussed was the most powerful audience from Google. So custom intent, and we can have multiple ad set based on custom intent. How? First, it can be at a brand level, brand keywords. Second, it can be your product keywords. And third can be your competitor keywords. So that's how you can segregate custom intent in your ad group. Then the third one is your ad level. It can have a category ads and product ads. And obviously you can add the video ads with the like merge center extension, product extension. So these are the three ad types we can add it into our YouTube prospect campaign structure. For engage and customer campaign, we would recommend two campaigns here. First would be your YouTube engage on your pixel data, which would include your website visitor, product viewer, and customer list. And then on cart abandoners, we have recently seen a very good results when we are running specifically our cart abandoners, because people have already engaged with your products and would have clicked there. So it makes definitely a sense to show them the YouTube ads again and tell them the messaging of your product via the videos. So this is how we would like to summarize our webinar, and that's the key takeaways. How do we structure our YouTube prospect and YouTube engage campaign? I would like to also like tell about our freemium version of AdYogi. That also will be sharing at the end of this webinar, and you can see all the features we have developed in this freemium version. And for example, we have a capability of link your YouTube channel to the platform, through which all the ads which are uploaded on your YouTube channel, that will get automatically linked to our platform, and you can just create your YouTube ad in just 2 to 3 clicks. So that's how easy we have created to create YouTube ads on AdYogi. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. We are open for questions now. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you so much, Garvit. It was a lot of information for us to process, and I hope the attendees have find it really useful and informative. We have a lot of questions here. I think I'll just jump into the question part. So the first question here, probably to Anshuk. So from one of our attendees, does YouTube ads help in increasing my website revenue? Over to you, Anshuk.
Yes, I think that's a very interesting question, because like Garvit also mentioned that till about a few years ago, YouTube was thought of a platform more from a branding perspective. We actually saw a lot of large FMCG brands use YouTube, and you also saw them using similar video content like they do it on a TV, right? But over the last 2 to 3 years, or maybe even 5 years, YouTube has actually consciously made a lot of effort to jump into the performance marketing segment as well, which means that YouTube is trying very hard to become a platform which can drive not only the brand awareness, but also drive revenue when you run ads on YouTube. So increasingly now we see features like YouTube for Action, something which again Garvin spoke about, which is the key campaign when it comes to performance marketing. So we have now seen that a lot of e-commerce brands, brands in the apparel, electronics, home decor space, actually do video content on top of YouTube. This could be a brand video, it could be a category video, it could be a product video. In most cases, we recommend category and product video, and then drive people directly to their category and product pages, and also eventually get conversions on the website, right? One small catch there is, like Gavit mentioned, we may not directly see a lot of ROS coming from YouTube, but one way to indirectly attribute is to look at your brand search volume. In many cases, we have seen that when you run YouTube campaign, the volume of brand searches go up, and inevitably these people, when they're searching for your brand, they land on your website and make a purchase. So long story short, yes, we see a great impact on revenue from YouTube as a platform.
Thank you, Anshuk. Next question, over to you, Garvit. My current CPC on YouTube ads is higher, and how can I reduce it? So one of the brand founder has asked this. Yeah, over to you, Garvit.
Absolutely, that question we continuously come across the brands, so the go-to strategy for that is key. We play with first our bidding strategies. So like for example, if we would be running on maximize conversion for a certain duration of time, let's say 14 to 15 days, so that is the correct time when you are not getting your desired goals and you're spending that particular amount in YouTube constantly. So that's the time you switch your bidding strategy. So for example, we have an expectation of, let's say, target 2x, and our CPCs are very high, right? So that will automatically decrease your CPC, because that's a goal we are giving to Google. And that's how an automated way of optimizing through our bidding strategy. So yeah, that is one way how we can reduce our CPC.
Thank you, Garvit. The next question here, we have an AOV of above $100, and how should we strategize our campaigns on YouTube? I think this question over to you, Anshuk. Yeah.
Yes. So average order value of $100 is a good, I would say, range. We have seen great success in that average order value on platforms like YouTube. My suggestion here would be that if you are in the health and wellness, or let's say FMCG or beauty space, then best is to identify your hero product. It could be a face cream, it could be a Ayurveda or any product. And of your top 2 to 3 hero products, try to get some video content created. Now, video content need not always be a studio sort of a quality content. We have seen great response coming from user-generated videos. We have also seen good response come from micro-influencer or influencer videos. The key point there is the video content should cover the USP of the product. So what is so unique about your product? Why should the user buy the product? If you can just cover that in the video, have a face and voice, that sort of a video works best in the YouTube context. So get some of those videos created, put them into a YouTube for Action campaign, and start driving sort of traffic on your website. Again, try to use custom intent targeting. That's the most powerful targeting on YouTube. So you can identify what kind of keywords are people searching, the ones which are relevant to your product. Put that as a custom intent targeting, and you should be able to drive a lot of relevant traffic. On the contrary, if you are in the apparel or fashion space, then we would not recommend product video. We would then, in that case, recommend a category video. But everything else remains the same. The YouTube for Action campaign, custom intent targeting, and category video. I think all three put together should be able to drive very good quality traffic on the website. Just one recommendation that as much as possible, we recommend mentioning price in the ad copy. So if you are a $100 AOV, then do mention it, the range. It could be 100 to 200. It could be starting at 100, just so that you can pre-qualify the audience. Usually we have seen that when you mention the price, we get the people who have the ability to pay the amount. So generally, the quality of traffic improves over a period of time. So over to you, Guna.
Thank you, Anshuk. I have next follow-up question on this. So currently, we are running a social media campaign and Google campaign. What percentage of the budget should we allocate on YouTube without impacting the overall efficiency of the campaigns? Over to you, Anshul.
Yes. So increasingly, what we are seeing is, I think, the cost of click from a platform like YouTube is actually 1/3 or 1/4 of your cost of click if you're running ads on Meta, which is Facebook or Google. And we also see that the competition on Meta keeps going high, which means even in the last 1 year or 2 years, we have seen an increase of around 20 to 30% in the cost of click on platforms like Meta. So what we would recommend brands is definitely get YouTube as the center stage of their strategy. If you are not doing YouTube currently, then a good starting point could be 10% of your budgets. And the balance 80% can split between Meta ads and your shopping and Performance Max campaign. Over a period of time, once you start seeing good results on your YouTube, maybe the way you should measure it is based on your cost per click. You can also measure your average session duration on the website, and you can look at your volume of brand searches, and even, let's say, the performance of your brand search campaign. Now, once you see these matrices going in the right direction, and you can also observe that your overall profitability on the business is improving, then we suggest you to increase the share of Google. In a steady state, we would expect YouTube to take about 20% of your overall budgets, maybe even 25%. But that's something which would probably take you around 3 to 6 months to get there.
Thank you, Anshuk. I think we have a last question here. Over to you, Garvit. We have an apparel store, and what type of audience segment works best for our apparel store?
So for that also, what I mentioned was key that we need to find out our star categories, our hero categories, right? For in that store, you would have your, like, let's say if you are in women clothing sector, you would have a category of, let's say, suit sets or kurta set, or if you are in, fast fashion, so you would have a category of, let's say, shirts or a category like denims. So based on that categories, we would recommend to create our custom intent audiences, and that is one audience type we would recommend to use in your YouTube campaigns, because that's the audience type which would give you more powerful in terms of the intent of the user. And so that would be the most relevant audience which we should be using in for our particular campaign type here.
Thank you, Garvit. I think that's all for the questions today. So I think that's it pretty much. We have come to an end of our webinar. So we have a recorded session of this webinar, which we will be sharing with all the participants post the webinar. So we would be also like sharing our AdYogi freemium offering. So you can just use the link and directly go and explore the product, explore all the key features of AdYogi. So once again, thank you so much for joining, and thank you, Anshuk. Thank you, Garvit. It's such a lot of informations to process, and I hope everyone finds it really useful. Thank you so much, Anshuk and Garvit.
Thanks, Guna. Very happy to have had this discussion. And like I said in the beginning, YouTube is an incredible platform. Over the next 2 to 3 years, I won't be surprised if we see YouTube on par with, let's say, a Facebook or an Instagram in terms of its scale. So any brand which jumps onto YouTube now would actually get that early mover advantage.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you so
everyone.
much for being part of
Thank
this.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.